It's your favorite chef, and we are back with another episode. Today we are doing empanadas. This traditional, classic, timeless street food is super popular, but we're going to do it today with a twist. It's summertime. Everybody's worried about how they look and want to make sure they have a nice beach body. So what we're going to do is we're going to make empanadas, but we're going to make them a vegan empanada, 100% plant-based vegan empanada. Trust me, I know it sounds a little weird, but it will taste incredible and it will look incredible. And we're also going to take it up another notch because we're going to do this in the air fryer. Quick and easy. I promise you, you will enjoy it. Stick with us. Stay tuned. Let's get to the kitchen and chop it up. Okay, and we are back. It's your favorite chef, and we are in our mise en place station. For those of you who are new to the channel, the mise en place station is just a really fancy word for everything in its place. Here we have all the different ingredients that we're going to be using today for our vegan empanadas. So I want to just kind of quickly not only go over, but just kind of go over with a couple different things of what we're going to be doing on today. So the star of the show to make kind of the meat filling, because it will be broken down into two different parts. It'll be the filling and it'll be the dough. The dough we'll start with actually is very simple. It's just going to be flour. It's going to be a cold block of plant-based butter. You're going to need about 3/4 of this block, 3 cups of flour. You're going to have a pinch of salt and a little bit of water, and we'll put that into our food processor blender, and I'll show you how that works. But this is what we'll be doing to make the plant-based dough. Now, if you think that that's a little bit too intimidating or daunting, you can purchase the Goya empanada disc. I just don't know if they are 100% vegan. I did some of the research, and some sites say they are, some sites they're not. So we just want to make sure we're going to make our own dough. But if you have an updated search and it shows you that the Goya empanada disc are vegan or dairy-free or free of any animal products, then feel free to use them. But I could tell you that it is very simple to make this empanada dough, which we've already have done, and I just want to go over that with you as well. And now, as far as for our filling, the star of the show are going to be lentils and quinoa. Now, these are regular green lentils. They're dry. You can buy them steamed, but these are dried, and I had to cook them earlier. And this is tricolor quinoa. I buy this in BJ's. I like the tricolor quinoa because it just adds a little bit of complexity to the dish. These two things go really well. They're very high in protein per serving. I think the lentils have about 10 grams of protein, and the quinoa has about 5. So between the two, you can get almost 15 grams of protein if you're looking for that. So we have those items already cooked. And this is our quinoa. I just followed the directions on the bag. And this is my steamed lentils. I followed the directions on the bag and I cooked them earlier. So we have these cool. So we'll bring these over to our cooking station when it's time. Then we have chopped up olives. This is about 4 olives that we have chopped up. Get it pitted so that you can have, and if you don't like olives in your empanada filling, then don't worry about it. You don't have to use olives. And then we have our Goya tomato sauce. The tomato sauce, you can find it in the Goya section or the Spanish section of your supermarket. This one has cilantro in it. Now there's 2 cans. One is a plain can that has cilantro, and one has a spicy. So make sure you don't get the spicy one. I've made the mistake before in doing that. So we're going to bring this over to our cook station and add that. And then let's talk about the spices that we're going to be using today. So we have a little bit of adobo. This is a spice that you can find also in your Spanish section, and you can find it with pepper or without. We're going to be using that. We're going to be using some sazon as well. Now, sazon is another spice that is in your Spanish section. Now, they have a couple different kinds of sazon. This is what the packet actually looks like. This here is without achote. Achote is like a flavoring, also a color enhancer. But this one is without, and I also like to use the sazon that has the achote in it. So it makes a little bit of a blend. So I use these two plus the adobo, and that makes a really good blend. And then we're going to chop up some garlic. This is about maybe 6 or 7 cloves. We're going to use our trusty pilong, and we're going to chop this up so that we can add to our filling along with an onion as well. And we'll get back to showing you how to chop up an onion. This is something that if you're new to the channel, you definitely want to watch to see so that you don't cut your fingers. But we're going to use a red onion because this is what I had in the house. If you want to use a yellow sweet onion, you can definitely do so. But this is what I had, so this is what we're going to use. And then the last thing that we're going to add for our filling is what we call sofrito. Sofrito is similar to a pesto, except it's not an accompaniment that goes on something. This is what is used a lot in Spanish cooking to flavor soups and a lot of different dishes. This, you can find it in your supermarket, but I have to be 100% honest with you and tell you that it will not taste like or look like what you see here. Now, I do make my own sofrito. However, I didn't make this. I have a Spanish chef, Chef Carmen, that works with me, and she makes her own sofrito. So the items in this here that makes it super special is it's cilantro. It's culantro, which is similar to cilantro, but it's a little bit stronger, a little bit more pronounced. It's green pepper, green bell pepper, red bell pepper, yellow bell pepper. It has some ají dulce, I believe I'm pronouncing it correctly, which is a small sweet Caribbean pepper. This one also has some Spanish oregano as well, which is a little bit different from the Italian version of oregano that we use, as the Spanish oregano, commonly referred to as Cuban oregano or Mexican oregano, is definitely a more stronger, more pronounced herb. So all of those things are put into a blender with as much garlic as you like, and put into a blender, and then it's usually typically either frozen or portioned out and just pulled out whenever you need it. So we're going to be using this on today, and we're going to be using some cilantro not only to go into our dish but also for our garnish. So when we return, we will jump right into making the shell, and then we'll come back and we'll have all the dishes for our filling, and then we'll go ahead and get over into the kitchen. Be right back. So we are back, and what we have done thus far is we've taken those 3 cups of flour that we had. I took the 3/4 of the stick of the plant-based butter, and I chopped it into small pieces. I added the flour, the butter, and a little bit of salt into a food processor, and then I blended it to when it looks just simply like this. I added also a pinch of sugar to it just for a little flavor. If you don't have a food processor, you can definitely utilize a pastry blender, creamer, or 2 forks, kind of like how they did in the old time. So this is what your dough should look like, where you have your pieces there. And then we're going to slowly but surely add, this is, it's a cup of water, but I'm going to slowly add it just until a dough forms about almost 3/4 cup. You just want to work through this. Now, what I found, because I made this earlier, is that the dough is elastic, and maybe that's because of the vegan butter. The vegan butter that I used was Country Crock, and it is made with olive oil. So I'm not quite sure if that's why. It's a little elasticity in it. So we're just going to keep slowly but adding the water until this forms into a ball of dough. And it's starting to come together. Now again, as I said, you can make or buy the Goya empanada disc if you are 100% sure. I wasn't. And no matter what research I looked in and looked at, it just didn't give me a definitive answer. And I was looking for it to say vegan or dairy free. I guess I could have just assumed that if it didn't mention any milk, that would be the case. But I know that sometimes different ingredients are masked by different things and they could mean different things, and I didn't want to steer anybody wrong. So therefore, we are quickly going to make our empanada dough. And this is coming together very nicely. And once you have it together, in which I took pretty much all of that water, you can put it on your cutting board and make sure you flour it just a little bit, just to give it some there we go. And I'm just working this nicely, and then once it is all together as you would want it to be, you have just made a quick and easy dough, vegan dough, that you can set aside and put into a clean bowl, and I will put a damp paper towel over it and put it in the refrigerator. So I did that, as I said I made earlier, and this is what the dough looks like after sitting and being there with the damp paper towel. And then I just would pull a couple different pieces off and roll out onto my sheet to make my disc. So do you see what I mean by it being elastic? So I have the ball here, roll it, put a little bit of flour, and put a little flour on my rolling pin, and we're going to roll out a disc. Now they have 5-inch shells, 6-inch shells. It really just depends upon how big you want your empanadas to be. Because we're going to fit these into the air fryer, we just have to make sure that they're not too big. And this is a nice size. Just want to make sure that it's even on all surfaces. And then what I'll do is I'll take these and I will put them onto a sheet pan and put them in the fridge until I'm ready to go. And that's our vegan empanada dough. Right back so we can make our filling. And we are back, and thank you for joining us in our kitchen station. We were first in the mise en place, and now we're here back in the kitchen station. If you are new to the channel, or if you are just looking to jump into what we're going to get into today, it's vegan empanadas. I welcome you to not only subscribe, but like the channel, share it with a friend. But let's get into this right now. So at the mise en place station, we had all the different things that we needed. So what we're going to do is we're going to turn on our cooktop. And by the way, these things here are really, really useful, especially like if you live in a town or an area. I'm talking about these cooktops here. If you live in a town in an area, if you lose power or you need different things to be done, these are very useful, and I'll put the link in it in my description box for these burners. These are butane burners, and they just work fabulously. You can take them out wherever you need to go to get them done. So I'll put the link in my description box. But with that being said, we're going to put some olive oil in the pan, or avocado oil in the pan. Avocado oil has a high smoke point. It's also, as I told you before, if you've been following this channel, make sure you buy oil in glass bottles so that they don't leach out. So we have our pan. It's getting hot. We're going to add our onions. We're going to add our olives. And we're going to add, from our pilon, the garlic. And this is just what we do, and this is how I make empanadas. If I was making meat empanadas, I would start this way as well. We are doing vegan, but what I like to start with is just making sure I have all of my vegetables in the pan and just getting a nice saute. I'm gonna turn this on to a medium heat. So we have onions, garlic, and olives. And we're just getting a nice saute, just starting to flavor out just to get them started. Well, I wish they had some type of, and maybe they will in the future, be able to invent some type of smell-o-vision, because this smells incredible. When I cater, I am a caterer. We do have a catering business. I'll put that description in the link as well in our description box, the link to our catering channel. When we make these, we make 300 of them at a time, and boy, that kitchen smells incredible. You think you're in Puerto Rico. So once this is just about to be translucent, I'm going to add some of that sofrito that we talked about earlier at the mise en place station. And I like to add a generous amount. You want to turn this down just a little bit. Let that cook. And now, oh man, it smells incredible. And now, what we're going to do is we're going to add some of that tomato sauce. And this becomes the base for our empanadas before we add anything else. And I just let that go and cook. And then we go in, not with all, but this is going to be the first sazon packet. This is the sazon without achote. Now notice how I left a little bit because we can always add more. It's very hard to take away. We're going to add the sazon with achote. I like to add these spices in now because sometimes when you add them in here, the dry spices, they get to toast in the pan, and that also elevates the flavor. We're adding a little bit of the adobo. I'm not going to add any salt because these spices already have salt in them. Okay. And then, if it starts to stick a little bit, we're going to add just a little water. So I have it in my tomato sauce container. That way I get all the other bits and pieces of tomato sauce that might have been left. So we're just going to add just a little bit, just to loosen this up. And then we're going to add the star, which is the lentils. So I've added those in. And then I've added my quinoa in. And this will become the filling for our empanadas. Now I like to go with the tricolor quinoa and the lentils simply because if you look, it kind of resembles a little bit of a ground beef texture. And when you steam the lentils, as long as you don't over steam them, you'll have that bite as well to signify or kind of give you that meaty texture. Then we're going to go in here. So we're going to let this simmer for about a minute or two longer, and then we'll be right back so we can taste it before we go fill our empanada shells. Okay, and we're back. So we have this here that has been simmering for about a minute or so. As I said before, if it tends to thicken up a little bit, you can loosen it up with a little bit of water. But what you always want to do at this particular point in time now is give a taste. Have a spoon here. Wow. I'm not just saying that, but this really and truly can kind of pass for a beef empanada, if you will. So we're going to turn our flame off. I'm gonna add a little bit of cilantro to mine. I just like that because I like that. We're going to add that there. And then we have our shells. So I am going to remove this off of the flame. I'm going to also remove our cooktop so I can demonstrate and show you how we will fold these shells. Now, I had these pre-cut, and as I mentioned before, you want to make sure we have 5 of them going. Now, also, we're going to be doing these in the air fryer. I have, as we mentioned before earlier, we're going to be doing, just a really super healthier version of this street food. And the reason why is because, well, just look at me. In the summertime when I cater, I tend to go off the rails a little bit and become undisciplined. So I'm just really trying to help not only myself, but all the chefs out there who may have a similar issue of where you still want to have these good foods, but you want to maybe have a healthier version. With that being said, we're going to air fry these bad boys. So I have my shells here. I'm going to turn my air fryer on. I have a Ninja air fryer. I'm going to put it on the air fry setting, which is 375 degrees. Now, when I set my air fryer on, it goes to a default of 20 minutes. We're going to let it preheat for 5 minutes. And then at the 15-minute mark, we're going to go ahead and put these shells in. All right. So we have our dishes. If you have an opportunity to cool your filling, that might be a better choice. What I have is just a little bit of water. When I fold my empanada shells, I like to go ahead and put a little bit of water on the edges so that kind of helps with the seal. And we're going to take and spoon in just a little bit of the filling. And if you wanted to add any type of vegan cheese or anything like that, you could certainly do so. Then we're going to fold this over, press down, and then I like to kind of fold as such. Now, because the filling is warm, these are a little bit delicate, but that's okay. They'll do well inside the air fryer. Oh man, forgot to press my edges. Here we go. I like to fold these to just ensure that they don't roll or open. So I put a fold there. We have this one here. So you kind of get the gist. We're going to fold these. We're going to brush them with a little bit of oil, and we're going to put them in the air fryer and let them go. And you will be pleasantly surprised when we come back. All right, and we're back. So one of the things I want to tell you is that when doing this recipe, you really want to make sure that your filling is cooled when you go ahead to be able to assemble them. Because as you can see, the dough reacted obviously to the hot filling and became a little bit of distorted. But hey, listen, man, we're here. We're going to make it happen. I promise you it's still going to taste good. So here we go. We're going to rub this with a little bit of avocado oil. You can use regular oil, olive oil. It's just something that has a high smoke point, and that's just going to help this crisp up. We have it at a 15-minute mark. I believe these will go for about a good 8 to 10 minutes. I'll check them, and then we'll come on back and let you see how they go so we can plate these things up. Our empanadas are done. It took about 9 minutes in the air fryer. So I just want to pull them out. You'll see them as I'll see them. This is how they have come out. So you can obviously see they are browned. Now they are a little bit not formed as properly as an empanada, simply because, as I mentioned to you before, the dough or the filling was very warm. But we are going to plate these guys up, but I want you to see that this is a healthier alternative to a classic. And yeah, if you can see, you hear that little crunch. These are nice and crunchy. They're hard, not doughy. And yeah, so here we go with the plate up. Ready to bring it on home. See you in a minute. So we have slid into third base on our way home. We're at the plating section of this episode. Thank you so much for staying with us. So we have our empanadas here. These are nice and crispy prepared empanadas. Now, people eat with their eyes, so you want to be mindful of your plating. I think I'm gonna put this one in the back here. And then you can take either your favorite hot sauce, which is how I like to eat them. And then we're going to just do a nice little drizzle. And garnish with a little bit of fresh cilantro. And there you go. Air fried vegan empanadas, vegan dough, air fried quinoa lentil. We're going to crack one of these open for you so that you can see. You see the filling, just as if you were eating ground beef. Super tasty. Thank you so much for staying with us. If you like what you saw and other videos like this, please subscribe and like our channel. Vegan Empanadas. Until next time, we'll see you on the other side.